a bit, like, we are not saying save all, save everything, but then you kind of draft this certain amount is going for health, emergency, food, the shawarma you love eating, the pizza you love eating, add it to your budget. We are not saying budget is kind of stopping your enjoyment, you understand? But then your ability of saving and then allocating certain amounts to everything, it's fine. Like, these days you need to be very, very careful in terms of spending. And so you definitely need the budget, and you need to budget, arrange, so that because of emergency you get. So to me, budgeting is a very
Yeah, and
good
that is what we're going to
thing.
be talking about today on the program, budgeting. How do you get to budget? What are some of the steps that will help you become very better at budgeting? And even as a country, Nigeria, I know every year we have the budget. We run a budget cycle in Nigeria.
Yes.
And we'll have a budget. We'll budget for the roads we want to build, infrastructure, the schools, and every other thing. Even the salaries that we have to pay, it's inside a budget. And we budget how much we are expecting, as income in the year. So it makes sense because you are not taken by surprise. You have everything planned. And if emergencies come, you could, if things exceed your budget, you could easily know,
Yes.
because when something comes, you're like, this exceeds my budget. It's not in my budget for today. So amazing. And that's the topic we want to talk about. But Sadiya, before we go for this short break, I'm going to ask you now. In 5 seconds.
All right.
Men and women, who are those that really love budgeting the more?
We
men and
women.
Women budget more
Yes.
than men
Yes.
on this show.
Yes.
All right, guys, let's go for a short break. And when we go back, we're going to get to know the answers. Sadiya says that women budget better than men. But come on,
Exactly.
your guy here does not think so. Let's go for a short break.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
You're still on to Global Morning on Global Television. My name is Ubong Osora. Before we went on that break, I asked Sadiat a question, and since we're talking about budgeting, and she said that women actually budget more than men. But come on, you can't be a judge in your own case, right? It doesn't seem right.
I'm not being a judge, but I'm only telling you reality that we
what
women...
What are the facts? Do you have facts to back up your claim?
Anyways, we would argue later, but not now.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're still talking about budgeting, and we're trying to see how budgeting helps us as a people. And one of the things that budgets actually does for you is that it gives you control. Yeah. Control over your finances, control over your actions, control over your tests, control over your expectations, control over whatever, because when you have a budget in mind, remember we told you that budget is about setting something aside, maybe just setting some percentage of your monies aside to say, okay, every year, every month, if you get salaries monthly,
this is what you say.
Yeah, you could just say 5%, 10%.
Financial discipline.
And you keep to it.
Yes.
And you know that for house rent, because these things are not emergencies. I have somebody who says he doesn't assist people to pay rent because rents are not, if it's sickness, if it's health, but rent is something you are aware of. Okay, so you could say your rent is, let's say, 500,000 and your salary is maybe 300,000. You should know that if you can get 50,000, and
out of your salary
monthly, that this is how long it will take you.
Yes, before you
2 months is 100,000, 4 months, 200. That means in 6 months you should be able to, get
the 300.
Get 300,000. Yeah. 300,000. If you, depending on the amount you can comfortably, set aside without feeling the pains. So it makes you stay in control, and you don't just start running to people, my rent is due, I have an emergency. When you had the time that you would have done it easily without, feeling it, without feeling the pains and just going through it. So budgeting gives you control over what you want to eat. You don't eat everything because everybody's eating because they are on a budget, right? So people always say, I have friends that you ask them, say, don't worry, I'm on a budget.
Yes, you see, and then this budgeting of a thing, it really saves us from what would I call it? You can still have fun. You can still have fun while budgeting. You can still have fun. And then it saves you from debt as well, because already this is what I'm having, and then you walk towards what you're having. You don't need to spend extravagantly. Let me use that word. Yeah. It will give you some kind of financial discipline.
Absolutely, because you just mentioned the thing. You could still have fun.
You could still have fun.
So you in your budget you include some amounts for maybe cinemas, luxury, so you put all of these things
together,
in your budget.
yeah.
So we're not saying budgeting does not mean that you should go dry, you should go just be there and not do anything fun for yourself.
Yes, because you want to save.
After all, if you're not alive, come on.
Next of kin would help you.
So the savings does not really make any meaning at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So what we are saying is that as you do things for yourself, you have to plan. You have to plan for your health needs. You may be sick. You may need to get drugs.
Emergency stuff.
Things may happen. So you have to plan ahead. And you are going to see that it's going to be very easy. For those of us who are from Christian religion, we say something about he who wants to build a house must first of all count the cost. So you want to go into a project, you have to have an idea of this is, and that's what budgeting will help you to do. You know, you have an idea of how much the project will be.
Yes.
If the project is about, let's say, 10,000, and you know you are earning 2 naira, you yourself will know how long it will take you to be able to get 10,000. So it helps you stay in control and be able to have fun, right?
All right, a quick one. Let's go straight to the dailies. Let's see what's happening on the daily newspapers we have.
All right, so so we're going to be going to check the newspapers and what the newspapers are saying. But before then, let's go for the short break, and immediately we're back straight to the papers. And I want to bring you all of the papers for the Sunday morning. Sunday papers, amazing.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, so before we went on that short break, Sadia had told us that when we are back, we're going to be looking at the papers. So, Sadia, which paper are we starting with?
Yeah, we're starting with Sunday Times.
All right, so
Sunday Times.
Okay, so that's the first paper that we are starting with for this morning. Let's check what the papers are saying. The Sunday Times for on a Sunday morning, Sunday
Yeah.
times. Sunday
On the
morning.
first page of the paper, it says over 400 fresh cadets trained to tackle insecurity,
Yeah.
NDA.
Yeah, that's a big story from the Nigerian Defense Academy.
Then, yes.
That over new 400 cadets are undergoing training to tackle insecurity. Okay, so
Still on the Sun newspaper,
still
we
on the
have
Sun, yeah, go
a
ahead.
Northeast suspend nationwide strike action as the association signs MOU with federal government.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And still on the Sun, we have a story that says, I'm no longer a Nigerian, haven't renewed passport in 20 years. We're going to come back to this story, Sadiat, because I like that we just highlight what it means for some persons to discountenance of their Nigerian origin and ancestry. All right, so all the stories that we have on the Punch, on the Sunday Times this morning, I beg your pardon, it says Nigeria must hit 2.7 MBPD oil targets by 2030, coming from SPE.
And that's on the page 11 of the Sun and Time, the Sunday Times, sorry. And then we have, still on the Sunday Times, we have a high-interest startup loans threaten survival of Nigerian small businesses.
Yeah, and still on Sunday Times this morning, Sunday morning, we have 150 women entrepreneurs to access 5 million grants coming from the Wanda deal. And there's a story on the top header of the paper says Dangote Refinery's appointment of David Bird and Nigeria's indigenization policy. And all of these stories, you could get them from the Sunday Times this morning. All right, so get across to your local vendor and grab a copy of this newspaper. All right, so I just like that we look at this story that says, I'm no longer a Nigerian, haven't renewed passport in over 20 years, coming from Kemi Badodochu, is a leader of the Conservative Party in the UK, a Nigerian who was born in the UK, but largely grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, attended Federal Girls College, and left Nigeria when she was 16. Majority of her formative age was done in Nigeria, and she came out. She speaks a lot about Nigeria and how Nigeria has not been well run as a country, which she has some points about, but the conversation to most Nigerians on social media, and I know people of commenting on what she said was that, is it right for her to, try to discountenance herself from Nigeria because obviously she wants to be UK Prime Minister and all of that. So those are conversations that we have about Nigerians who left the country, who may not want to identify with the country because of the way things are done back home. That's a conversation for our political elites. Because if Nigeria was doing very well, people would want to associate with us. But on the other part of it, does it really matter that because your family is not doing well, you now abandon them? So those are deeper conversations.
Anyways, I want to believe that that's her own opinion. She's an adult and she has the right to choose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just want to respect that opinion of hers.
That she...
Yes, that I believe she has a reason for saying that. So we wish her all the best.
Yeah, we wish her all the best. As Nigerians, we are always happy to see Nigerians succeed. We appreciate how far she's done for herself and how well she's done for herself. So we don't have any problems with that. So whether she identifies as a Nigerian or not, just bearing the name Kemi, it's good enough for us.
So from there, you know that, yes, she's actually a Nigerian.
She has some roots with Nigeria.
Yes.
So we wish you all of the best, Kemi, even when you're not, according to you, your opinion, you're not identifying as a Nigerian.
All right, so moving on to the next newspaper.
Okay, so the next newspaper is the Sunday Tribune, the Tribune newspaper, Sunday edition. The big story says, El-Rufai's bombshell, APC dangerous for 2027, and goes on to state some things. That's from page 14 and 19. It says, don't allow the party to get another term, he says. Complaints of northern marginalization, plots against Tinubu, says group. Why defectors can't help Tinubu in 2027, Okori. Nigerians still recycling leaders with little value. So all of those are, sub-points under the big story. El-Rufai's bombshell, APC, dangerous for 2027 on the Sunday Tribune this morning. Sadiya to walk us through along the other stories that we have on the Sunday Tribune.
Yes, we have LASU suspends activities over worker strike, I beg your pardon, other students to vacate hostels.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's on page 5 of the Tribune news paper. Sunday Tribune newspaper says LASU suspends activities over worker strike. Other students to vacate hostels. All
right, so other stories we have there says Labour Party accuses INEC of power abuse, false expulsion from August 16th by elections. It's on page 2 on the Sunday Tribune.
And then we have on page 4 of the story, we have Oyo government set to create 100,000 direct jobs, support over 500 farmers.
Okay, so we also have another story. It says Nigerian nurses call off 7-day warning strike after AFJ's federal government agreement. And the story that says new federal government industrial policy plan to make going on strike criminal. NLC alleges. I just like that we, highlight this story about LASU suspending activities over workers' strike and ordering students to vacate hostels. One of the things that this government has actually, interfaced very well, it's about the issue of strike.
Yes.
Yeah, for 2 years since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into governance, we've not had us to go on strike, although we've still had them talk about
going on strike.
Yeah, we've had them talk about going on strike. We've had them highlight issues of payments and other things, but they've not actually gone on strike. And it's sad that we are having students are being asked to vacate hostels because the education of every country is very important, from how we invest in our education, from how we are serious about education. We can guess the trajectory of the country. Like we are talking about budgeting, which we are going to come back to. A country should budget for education. A country should be interested in training future leaders. What are the kind of trainings we are giving students that you can come to school, stay 6 months? Personally, I went through strikes, so I understand how demoralizing it could be. There was a time we had to, just a week to exams, we went on strike, and we just had to come back and write exams. Like after 6 months, we were supposed to write exams, we went on strike. So by the time the strike was called off, it was just, they gave us 1 week to exams. And my head was like, were you thinking I was reading during the strike? I don't understand. Because we're not reading.
You aren't reading.
We're involved in other activities. People went to go and learn how, people went to go and look for things, start businesses, and all of that. And you just call them back and you give them 1 week and you want to
write exams.
You say, remember that before you went on strike, you were supposed to write exams. So these are, we cannot keep running an educational cycle when people get into school, you know when you have admission, you don't know when I'm going to graduate. It's a 4-year course, it's turning to 6 years.
Yes,
people have plans and budgets for their lives.
Yeah.
So we have to respect that.
Yeah, so I think the last story for this newspaper is new federal government industrial policy plans to make going on strike criminal. NLC alleges.
Yeah, absolutely. All
new
right.
federal government industrial policy plans to make going on strike criminal. NLC alleges.
All right.
And that's on the page 5 of the newspaper.
All right. So, Sadiya, which paper are we taking the next?
Sunday Telegraph.
All right. So the Sunday Telegraph as the next paper we're taking this morning, and the big story says Nigeria loses billions to unending amendments since 2026. Since 2006, I mean. Nigeria loses billions to unending amendments since 2006. On the footnotes, we have OBJ, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan assemblies failed to yield results. 6 to 9 National Assembly efforts in vain. That's talking about the 1999 Constitution. All right, so Sadiat, walk us through the other stories we have.
We have INEC excludes Labour Party from August by election, and that's on the page 3 of the newspaper, Sunday Telegraph.
Yeah.
And then we have NLC frets over new industrial relations policy.
Yeah, absolutely. On that story that says INEC excludes Labour Party from August by elections, we also have on that same story that Abure threatens court action.
Yes, and then we have Abure threatens court action again. We have another story still on the Sunday Telegraph saying anxiety over Ojulari's job at NNPC Limited. That's on the page 7 of Sunday Telegraph.
Okay, so I have this one. Only Police Service Commission, PSC, has powers to appoint police officers. That's coming from a senior advocate of Nigeria. That's also a story on the Sunday Telegraph. Yes, this story, I saw this story. Maybe we'll just look at it a bit. It says NGE, ADC, flares Bago over radio stations closure. Only NBC has such power, says federal government. I saw
exactly.
Okay, you saw the video.
Yes,
where
that's it. I don't want to talk about that much because I don't use emotion.
Right.
But then I don't think a state governor has that power to seize license for broadcast radio.
Yeah, you know, the federal government, according
it's
to the paper.
It's only the federal government.
Yeah, according to the paper,
yes.
And there's an agency that does that, NBC. I remember those days when we started broadcasting, and at every point you'll be told, NBC, not to be played, not to be played.
But,
so we're conscious about the songs, we're conscious about the words, because NBC were definitely the watchword. For me, on air,
If you have issue with any of the broadcast media, like the example of what's happening in Nigeria now, if you have, since the governor is having issue with the owner of this very private radio station in Minna, it should be addressed, and not saying he would seize the license, the broadcasting license of a radio station, a private radio station, not government-owned radio station,
even if
because
it's
of because of certain statement or someone trying to sell out another candidate using that radio station,
that medium. You know, also we are not saying that in media there's no there are checks and balances.
Yes,
and
definitely.
I think that's why we have all of those things. So the NBC is there. So if you have a complaint, like the NBC used to say, write it officially.
Yes.
So the NBC, they'll look into it. If it demands seizing of license, they'll do it, because that is organization responsible. I know that people pay fines for playing things that are not supposed to be played. So there are a lot. People get suspended. People get licenses seized. So there are a lot of things that I work as checks and balances. But like she said, so we don't get maybe a bit emotional about the story. And that's the stories we have for you this morning from the Sunday Telegraph. Sadia, are we looking at any other story?
Yes, we're looking at still on the Sunday Telegraph, or we'll move forward.
Yeah, maybe. Let's check out other newspapers.
All right, then moving forward, we have the Nation newspaper.
All right.
Yes, the Nation newspaper for today's edition, Sunday's edition. We have a ADC crisis, factional chair under pressure to quit, says aide.
Okay, so that's a story, a new party that just started, and it seems they're having crisis already.
And that's on page 4 of the Nation newspaper.
All right.
And then we have August 16 by elections, APC, PDP, ADC mobilized for show of strength.
Yeah, and on the red that says Labour Party alleges exclusion, right? So those are stories that we see on the Nation newspaper. But the lead story on the Nation today says, why North leaders should endorse Tinubu for second term by Gbajabiamila Miller. So we have Niger APC, OK's governor, OK's president, Bado for 2027, Ayada Tiwa, launches Ondo for Tinubu. Solodo, any politicians talking of one-term needs psychiatric examination. Those are some of the stories coming on that lead story this morning on the Nation's newspaper. Sadia, it's all the
Then
series.
we have AAU final year student founded after missing 4 days.
Sad. This is actually a very sad story.
Then we have criticism of Tinubu's visit to St. Lucia. Shameful, says Prime Minister.
Yeah, this is a story I love. Reason I rejected $17,000 bribe. Police officer. So we still have police officers in Nigeria that are faithful, that have integrity, that understand the essence of the job. So this police officer rejected $17,000 bribe, and that is commendable. Commendable, yeah.
Commendable. Say a very big thank you to him for that courage. It's not easy, this era, like this, what's happening now in Nigeria, and someone is rejecting $17,000 bribe.
Yeah.
Commendable.
All right, so let's take the last story, the last paper for this morning, which is going to be the Punch newspaper. The lead story on the Punch says, Tinubu's re-election, Northern ex-lawmaker splits after presidency meeting. So we have Chichangi orders back Tinubu as Gbajamiamila refutes North neglect. Factional Kekos rejects Abuja's communique, alleges betrayal of Northern interest. That's the lead story this morning on the Punch newspaper. Sadi, out of the stories.
Yes, we have food inflation persists in southwest and southeast as prices drop in north.
Okay, EFCC gets petition against NNPCL boss as resignation rumors spread. That's a story this morning on the Punch newspaper. Let's just run ahead and take all the stories.
Then we have dropping Shettima won't stop Tinubu's 2027 victory. APC North Central Forum chairman.
And the story says World Bank plans $250 million health loan for Nigeria by next month.
And that's on page 25 of the Punch newspaper for Sunday edition.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we have next story. Nurses won against victimization after suspending strike.
This is a story that says how gas flaring silently steals sight of Akwa Ibom residents. That's seen on page 16 and 17. I will really love to read that story. Okay.
Then it says we have a miraculously survived road crash that killed 16 passengers, students, and that's on page 22 of the Punch newspaper, Sunday edition.
All right, people, that's the much we can take this morning on the newspaper segment of Global Morning Sunday edition. Let's go for a short break, and when we go back, we get to talk more about budgeting. Why you need to budget, Sadiat, you need to start budgeting for December.
We'll come back definitely.
I said you need to start budgeting for December.
I will come back and then give you a breakdown then.
Oh, you're already doing budgeting?
Yes.
All right, guys, let's go for the short break. We'll be right back. This is Global Morning. My name is Ubong Osoro. I do have yeah, you're still with us. We're not going anywhere. So now let's go check out Sadiat teaching us how to cook with the text and texture segment of the show. Then we'll just do the weather forecast. We need to know what the weather is saying for today. Then we'll come back to the studios.
How to prepare bean cake for breakfast, popularly known as akara. Hello everyone, welcome to the program Taste and Texture. Today, we are going to prepare delicious Nigerian delicacy and we'll be preparing it from the scratch. Preparing bean cake, popularly called akara, is essential for making traditional Nigerian dishes. To make akara, you would need raw beans, red beans, black-eyed beans or beans flour, onion, water, scotch bonnet peppers, crayfish, salt and vegetable oil. Some recipes also include optional ingredients like red bell peppers, sweet peppers, or a bit of seasoning. This video shows how to make akara step by step. 1. In a clean bowl, measure and pour your beans, or if you have a beans flour, pour in a clean bowl. 2. Wash your beans properly. Add your washed fresh pepper, scotch bonnet pepper, onion, crayfish optional. Add little quantity of water and then blend. 3. After blending, add salt to taste and a whisker to mix and incorporate air into your batter for 5 to 10 minutes. Tiny balls will pop up, that is to show you that you have properly incorporated your batter. Get your clean pan and add oil on a lower heat and onion. Get a spoon and scoop your batter into your hot oil. 5. Fry until golden brown. It can be served with pap or custard. That is it for today's episode of the program Taste and Texture. Hope you will try this recipe in your various homes. Join me same time tomorrow for another episode of the program. I am Sadia Yakubu saying bye for now.
All right, Sadia is teaching us how to
prepare akara, and it can be served with either pap or what's it called, custard.
You need to be bringing these things to the studio, not just teaching us how to. You need to bring practical. All right, guys. So let's try to finish up with the budgeting that we were talking about today, and it's very important that yes, I know some people are like, yeah, we'll budget at the beginning of the year, but you can start now. Yeah, you could start now. Sadia just tell us a few things about budgeting that we need to know.
You know, for the budgeting, you need to be financially disciplined. You have to put that at the back of your mind that, yes, since I want to start saving, yes, I want to start saving, and then there are some things you have to cut down. You have to step on some things. Anything you know is not necessary, you avoid it. Then whatever you know, yes, it's vital, it's important, you push in more, you save. Let's say you're earning like you're earning 200, 300, 500. You should know that, yes, definitely, if you're renting an apartment, you definitely know that, yes, you pay rent and there are other bills attached. You have parents to look after, you have yourself. You need to look good, smell nice. So these are things you need to push money into, and then you kind of save for them monthly. You push small amounts. You say, okay, this is for emergency. I'm keeping this for emergency purpose. And then I'm giving this to my mom, my siblings, and then I'll keep this for transport. That's if you don't have a vehicle on your own, of yours. You just save a small for this for transport, and this for my feeding. All essential things.
All right, and today, before we go, there are tools that could help you do better savings. We are not advertising any of them because, come on, if they want to have to pay us for adverts. But out there, you could search and see tools that could help you, budget and save. Even with your phone, there are mobile tools that could help you, apps and all of that, do better savings. Even with your bank, you could ask them for a budgeting plan and they're going to help you. So in all that we've said today, you need to start budgeting so you could achieve that big goal that you have at the end of the year, or maybe in 2 years, in 3 years. With the right budgeting, you could achieve almost anything. Nothing is out of your reach. And that's the much you can take on today's edition of Global Morning, Sunday edition. And it was really beautiful doing this alongside Sadiat, as we helped you to learn how to budgeting. We looked at the papers, and Sadiat, and spoil up our appetite, taught us how to make akara, which I'm going to go make immediately after this show.
Yes, I'm saying a thank you very much to all our viewers for staying tuned and hope you enjoyed today's episode of the program. In fact, text and texture, please. Just grab a copy.
I've told you next time, better as you're teaching us,
coffee for
teach
next
practically. Week. Come, bring it to the studio. We want to see you so that you can give us at the end of the day. All right, guys, that's the much you can say. Do have for yourself a wonderful Sunday. My name is Ubong Usora.
I am Sadia Yakubu saying bye for now.
Bye for now.